Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. So today we are finally reviewing the By the Rose collection from Colourpop Cosmetics, and I got so many tags on this one because I have been asking for a rose gold palette from honestly any brand, but specifically Colourpop. But I've been wanting like a true rose gold palette, and when this was released, I think a lot of us thought that there was some kind of like rose gold elements to the palette. I got the collection in PR, so I have everything here to swatch, to compare. I did 3 looks as well. So with that being said, if you guys are curious about my thoughts on the By the Rose collection, then please continue watching. So the By the Rose collection is a pretty small collection, but you could say it's sort of like an extension of the Feeling Bubbly collection. This is reminding me of Blush Crush and Nude Mood when they like kind of released it together like that, and the color story is kind of similar. Like Feeling Bubbly could be like Nude Mood, and then By the Rose could be like Blush Crush, so it's kind of like the 2022 version, if you could say. But in this collection there is the eyeshadow palette, which is $14 US. This is in the bigger pans and it's in the cardboard packaging. Then we have 3 Super Shock shadows. You can purchase all 3 together, and there are also 3 Super Shock blushes as well, which go for $8 US. And then there are also 3 lip lacquers as well, which are $8 US. And if you guys would like to save a bit of money on this collection, I do have an affiliated code with Colourpop, which is just my name, JUDY, at checkout for 10% off. This is affiliated, so I do earn a small commission if you do choose to shop with my code. But of course, that does support me and my channel out in the end, and I appreciate you guys for always using my code. But with that being said, let's talk about the eyeshadow palette first, because this is definitely what I was most excited for. Like, if I didn't get this in PR, I definitely would have like purchased it down the line eventually, just because I really do like this kind of color story. So the outer packaging is quite similar to the Feeling Bubbly palette, if you guys got that, where it has the bubbles. But as you can see, like even the reflection is rose gold. So that's why I feel like a lot of us got like rose gold vibes. But in this 9-pan palette, you will receive 5 mattes. One of the mattes has little sparkles in them, but once you apply it on the eyes, those sparkles do fly away. So technically 5 mattes, and then we have 4 metallics. Again, no pressed glitters. I feel like it's actually been quite a while since we've seen some pressed glitters in palettes from Colourpop. I think they kind of stopped on that for a little bit, but nonetheless, I think the ratio of matte to shimmer is pretty good, 5 to 4. I do like that. And to my surprise, for the color story, I feel like it's a really good fall palette, because although you do get the pinks, you do get this like brown and this red burgundy, where it kind of gives me almost like, I don't know, kind of like wine and only whatever, those kind of vibes, where it's like a very deep kind of red, but it has a hint of pink. Like this look today, it's leaning very mauvey to me, where when I saw this palette I thought it was going to be very pink based. So you get a mixture of like burgundy tones but also like pink tones as well. The shades in here are also very muted, which is nice. They're a little bit more softer, they're not as bright. So you know, if you don't want to play with like such vibrant pinks, this would be a good option for sure. My only con with this palette is probably the metallics, just because when you see these 3 metallics here, they translate pretty much the same on the eyes. You can even see in the pan that these 2 specifically, Over Ice and Cheers Babe, they kind of have a very similar reflect as well. Although they did come out with Super Shock shadows in this collection, which is fine. These Super Shocks are different from what's in here, but not everyone is going to buy, you know, the Super Shocks. But we're saying that the mattes are really well diverse, because you get the really light white pinky matte, and then you get the transition, you get 2 medium tones, one's more pink, one is brown, and then you get the deep burgundy red. So there's a good variation within the mattes. I think it's lacking in the shimmers when it comes to variation. Obviously it is different colors, but you know, when they are so similar with reflect and tone, it translates the same on the eye. And also with like the look I did today, I don't know if it's just me, because these days I've been feeling a little bit in a daze that, you know, maybe my blending wasn't the best, but I feel like I did struggle a little bit, which usually with pink shadows I don't have that issue. But it's just something to note from my experience. Like, I did enjoy this palette, I like the looks that I got out of it, but is it going to be my favorite pink palette? I will say no. So with that being said, I'll quickly put up my comparison. If you guys follow me on Instagram, or if you just go to my Instagram, I've been trying to do like a color themed feed. So I was doing red for a moment when I released Red Dragon, and then at the start of February I slowly switched into pink. So I feel like this past month I've been playing with a lot of pink palettes. I've been doing a lot of pink looks, and Colourpop just has so many pink palettes that I don't know, this one really did not stand out to me as much as others. So it's a good palette nonetheless, but it doesn't stand out among all of the pink palettes to me. And then we have the Super Shock shadows. So there are 3. The first shade is It's a Vibe, which is the lightest. It has more of a pinkier undertone to it. And then we have Loungin', which is more of like the medium tone. It kind of has like a plum purple tone to it. And then the last shade is Sundress, which is definitely a lot more purple with a red undertone. So these are really pretty. I think these definitely are different from the metallics you are going to get in here. So if you are a fan of these Super Shocks, I definitely would recommend. I got to use all 3 within my look, so you will see how they go on the eyes and the colors. But yeah, you guys know I love this formula, but I just don't use them because I'm always stuck on pressed powders rather than like, you know, single shadows or cream products. But these are really pretty. And then onto the blushes. So again, there are 3 shades. It kind of goes from light, medium to dark. So the lightest shade is called No Way, which has more of like a true pink color to it. And then we have At First Blush, which is more of a cooler tone pink. And then lastly, we have Sounds Great, which is the darkest of them all, and it's the one I'm currently wearing on my cheeks right now. So these are all in the pearlized finish, so they do have a sheen. I'm not wearing any highlighter on my cheeks right now. It is just this blush on my cheeks. And maybe I've been sleeping on the pearlized formula for a little bit because I love how these makes my cheeks look, because I do have pretty high cheekbones, like especially when I smile, they're like very prominent because my auntie, my mom, like on my mom's side, all the ladies have like very prominent cheekbones. I think as I get older, they probably will get more prominent, but I have a baby face, so you kind of can't see them. But I feel like these blushes really highlight that. And although it's pearlized, I don't necessarily think it emphasizes my texture so much. I mean, if you have very, very textured skin, then that could be an issue, but I feel like it just looks really pretty, and it just gives your cheeks a really healthy glow. Like, I just feel like with these shades specifically, I look like I'm just naturally blushing. And then lastly in the collection, we have the Fresh Kiss lip lacquers. So again, 3 colors, which I feel like is so perfect, especially when I do my Colourpop reviews. When I do 3 looks, I take 1 from each category and use it for each look, if that makes sense. So it just works out. Like, there's 3, so 1 of them I used in look 1, look 2, look 3. So again, in the shade, it goes from light, medium to dark. So the lightest one is called First Glass, which I am wearing a little bit on my lips right now. And the medium one is It's On Me, which I'm also wearing on my lips too. So I'm wearing a mixture of these 2. And then the last shade is called Spritz Me. So if you're not familiar with the lip lacquers, because it's a little bit newer, and you know, Colourpop comes out with so many new formulas, you might not be aware of it, but the lip lacquers are a hybrid of a liquid lipstick and a lip gloss. So the lip lacquers, they are glossy finish, but they have such an intense coverage and opacity and pigment. But with that, it is more of a thicker formula. So if you want just, you know, like one swipe and cover your natural lip color, the lip lacquers are good for you. But with that being said, it does feel a little bit heavier compared to a normal gloss. It also does bunch up a little bit, but you can just wipe that away. It's not a big deal. But yeah, these are really nice. They have a really sweet scent to it, so just keep that in mind. I know a lot of people are very sensitive to fragrance, but it does have a very light caramel vanilla kind of scent. It's hard to pinpoint what the scent is exactly. I'm just not good at describing scents, clearly, but I really do like this formula, and my favorite shade would have to be It's On Me. And when I was on the Colourpop website yesterday, I did see that these were on sale for like $3. So I mean, if you like the shades that you see, grab it while you can, because $3, such a good bargain. It's a really good formula. I really like it. I like how my lips look. So that was my rundown on the entire collection, my thoughts on everything. Hopefully you guys found all of that helpful along with the comparisons. I don't really think any of these shades, you know, are so new or fresh from the brand. We definitely have seen these multiple times already, but that obviously it's no surprise. But with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the 3 looks. Alright guys, so hopping into the first look, I'm going to start off with the shade Sunday Soiree, and this is going to be the base color, the transition shadow. So I'm just going to work that all over my lid, up to my crease, and also up towards my brow bone, getting this blended out using windshield wiping motions. This is a really nice muted pink, so it's not too loud, quite of like a wearable pink, if you know what I mean. Now I'm going to go into the shade Sweetness, and I'm going to focus this at the outer corners of my eyes. This is a really nice muted brown. In the pan it has little gold reflex, but once it's on the eyes, most of those little glitters do kind of blend away. But I really like this tone of brown, and I like the pairing with the muted pink. It gives me Neapolitan ice cream kind of vibes. Now I'm going to take the shade Ripe, and I'm going to place that right at the center of my eyes. This is sort of like the medium metallic shadow, just to give our eyes a little bit more dimension. But now taking the Super Shock shadow, it's a Vibe from the collection. This is an ultra glitter, and I'm going to use that right at the inner third of my lid, and I'm going to use this to also highlight my inner corners. I take that onto my lower lash line as well. Just that whole inner corner region, it's going to be It's a Vibe. And now taking the Super Shock blush in the shade No Way, I'm going to apply that to the apples on my cheek and blend that back towards my temples. This is a pearlized finish, so it is not a complete matte, so I didn't go in with highlight. It really does make my cheeks look very, very glowy and dewy and fresh and youthful. I really love how this looks, and it's a really beautiful pink shade that complements the eyeshadow perfectly. So here we have the first look completed. For my lip color, I went with the lip lacquer from the collection in the shade It's On Me, and again, I think it matches the look perfectly. I love how this look turned out. It is going to be the base look for another look that I'm going to do after this. So if you want to see that, I'm going to post it on my Instagram, but I wanted to give you a very like pink monochromatic soft glam kind of look. This is soft glam to me. It could be super glam to others, but nonetheless, I really love how this look turned out. And now hopping into the second look, I'm going to start off with the shade Sweetness, and this is going to be the base color, our transition for this look. I'm first going to work this onto my lid because it's more like a mid-tone kind of shade. So I do want to slowly blend this out into my crease. So once I have like little to no product in my brush, that's when I'll start blending up a little bit higher, and that's going to work as our base color. So I'm also going to take that onto my lower lash line as well, just sweeping it all over to get that base going. Now going into the shade Savor It, I'm going to work this at the outer corners of my eyes. This is the deepest shadow in the palette. It's a really nice sort of red plum kind of shade. So just working that at the outer corners, getting that pigment there, and then I'll slowly start blending that out, just focusing mainly at the outer corners. I'm also going to take that on a defining brush as well and press that up against my bottom waterline, again only at the outer third. Now taking the shade Picnic Basket, which is such a cute name, but this is the lightest matte. It's pretty much like a white with a pinky undertone to it, but we are going to use this and stamp it on at the inner third of our eyes. The way I'm stamping it on, I'm kind of creating like a crease, like a half cut crease you could say, but it's more like a soft cut crease because I'm not using a concealer to cut my crease out. I'm just using this really light matte eyeshadow to cut my crease out. I feel like it's a little bit more softer, but it gives your eyes more definition. And I also like to take that into my inner corners because that really like helps open up the eye. Now I'm going to take the Super Shock shadow in the shade Sundress, just using using my ring finger, I'm gonna dab that on to the center of my eye, sort of where that matte pinky white blends into the darker outer corner. We're gonna place it at the center because technically this eye look is pretty matte. This will help give a little bit of shimmer to the eye look. It will also reinforce a bit of that burgundy color. And then lastly for eyeshadow, taking the shade Cheers Babe, I'm gonna use this to highlight my lower lash line at the inner third, just to give me that like eggshell style kind of look, which I do love. And it also adds like a different tone to this look, as this one's more of like a coral rosy gold. And then onto the cheeks, I'm taking the Super Shock blush in the shade At First Blush, and I'm gonna apply that to the apples of my cheeks, blend that back into my temples. This is a pearlized finish, and I would say this works great as more of like a blush topper. So this, you guys, is the second look completed. I wanted to do something a little bit more to the brown and neutral side while still incorporating those rosy berry colors. For my final lip pairing, I went with the lip lacquer in the shade Spritz Me, and I think that really complements the more mauvey kind of brown tones we have in our eye look. So I do like the final outcome of this look, and I hope you guys like it too. And finally, onto the last look. I'm gonna start off with the shade Sunday Soiree, and this is going to be the transition shadow, the base color. So I'm just going to sweep that all over my lid, blend that up into the crease, up towards my brow bone, towards the outer corners. Again, it is the base color, so you literally can just take a really big fluffy blending brush and just sweep this all over. And then I'm also gonna take that onto my lower lash line as well, just sweeping that from the outer corner right to the inner corner. Now moving into the shade Effervescent, I'm gonna focus this at the outer corners of my eyes just to start getting some depth, but I'm also gonna take that into the inner third of my eyes as well. So sort of just leaving the middle blank of shadow, so you'll only see that base color, because we are gonna be doing sort of like a soft smoky halo eye. So just focusing that at the outer corners and also the inner corner. But for the lower lash line, I just take that on a defining brush and I just press that all over my lower lash. Now going into the shade Savor It, I'm gonna do exactly the same thing, just focusing this at the outer corner but also in the inner third, again just to get that depth and definition, and also of course taking that onto my lower lash line to even out the depth, just taking that on another defining brush and running that all over. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take the Super Shock in the shade Loungin', and I'm gonna use my ring finger and I'm gonna apply that right at the center of my eyes, where we sort of left blank for a metallic shadow to really shine. When we put it at the center, it really captures the light and it reflects really well. So with a Super Shock that has a lot of little micro like glitters, it sparkles really well and it's super pretty. But I'm actually gonna take the shade Sparkling just to enhance that highlighted halo a little bit more. Sparkling is one of the lighter metallics in the palette, so I'm really just placing like that at the super center. With the Super Shock, I blended out the edges a little bit, but this is going right at the center of our eyes, and I also use this shade to also highlight my inner corners as well. But for my blush, taking the Super Shock cheek in the shade Sounds Grape, I'm gonna apply this to the apples of my cheeks, and as you can see, I did apply a little too much. Like I took too much on my sponge initially, but it does blend out really well. It's the Super Shock formula. They blend out like a dream. I will say that this shade is a little too dark, but I really do like the color of it. I look very flushed and I kind of like that. But yeah, I would say this would be perfect for someone that has maybe a medium to deep skin tone. But this, you guys, is the final look completed. I did add a little bit of glitter off camera just because I can't get enough of extra sparkles and glitter, so I just had to. But for my final lip pairing, I did go with the lip lacquer in the shade First Glass, and I think it's a really nice nude lip color to pair with such like a smoky halo eye, and I really do like how the overall look turned out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this final look as well. Alright guys, so those were my 3 looks. Let me know which look out of the 3 was your favorite down below. I really do love how all of them turned out. It was a very pink month for me. Like, if you go to my Instagram, honestly I did a lot of pink looks, and my next color, which I'm probably going to be transitioning into the next couple of weeks, will be purple, which is still kind of the same color family, but maybe you guys will be seeing more purple looks from me in the coming month because that is what I'm doing on my Instagram. And although like all of my platforms like my YouTube, my Instagram and my TikTok, I feel like they're not really connected that much, I feel, because what I do on my YouTube is like a lot of reviews, and then on my Instagram it's more, I do post makeup and stuff, but like it doesn't really relate that much to what I post on my YouTube, and then my TikTok is really just completely different. So yeah, check me out on my other platforms as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's review. Let me know your thoughts down below. You guys already picked this up. Are you going to now? If you guys did enjoy today's video and you found it helpful, if you could give the video a thumbs up for me, I'd appreciate it so much. That does conclude today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching as always. I love you so much, and I'll go ahead and see you guys in my next video. Bye!